Today's video is sponsored by Picker's Grip. Stop dropped picks and pick rotation while playing with Picker's Grip. Made with all natural ingredients in Virginia. Check out their website to order. When you support my sponsor, this also supports my channel, and it's very much appreciated. Why did kamikaze pilots wear helmets? I don't think that extra layer of leather on their head did much good. So, thank you so much for joining me here today. Welcome to my list of my favorite guitar solos of all time. These are my personal list of favorite guitar solos. Some of these are just solos that I think are great guitar solos. Some of these are solos that might be a little bit lesser known, but really resonated with me, both as a fan, a listener, and a guitar player. And I thought I'd share it with you here today. These are not presented in any particular order other than the order that they came to me, and I wrote them down on my list. And also, these are actual guitar solos within actual songs themselves. So, unfortunately, as great as it is, Eddie Van Halen's Eruption is not on this list because that entire thing is nothing but a guitar solo. Also, other than a picture of the artist and or the album cover that these guitar solos may have been featured on, that's really about the only way I'm going to be able to demonstrate these because of copyright laws, which I do not want to get in trouble for. So, but I will post links to all of where you can hear all of these great guitar solos down in the description. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Number 1, Zakk Wylde on Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears. I will never forget the first time that this solo resonated with me. I had just recently gotten my driver's license, and I was driving home from school one day and had the CD in the CD player. This solo came on as I was driving home from school, and as soon as it started with that opening chord and that opening bend, that hit me right here in the feels, and I've been a huge Zakk Wylde fan ever since. Number 2, Kirk Hammett on Metallica's Fade to Black. You can take your pick on this song, which one I'm referring to, because there's 3 of them, and they're all great. One of the things that I think makes for a great guitar solo, maybe the most important thing, is if you can connect with it on an emotional level. In other words, does it make you actually feel something when you hear it? And all 3 of the solos in this song, for me, absolutely do. Number 3, David Gilmour on Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb. This may be one of the most famous guitar solos of all time, and this is another one of those that you don't hear it, you feel it. This is absolutely brilliant guitar playing from Mr. David Gilmour. Number 4, Angus Young on AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long. Angus Young, of course, is a great blues rock guitar player, maybe one of the best ever, but this particular guitar solo has always stood out to me because I'm not the fastest shredder-like guitar player on the planet. I never have been, and I likely never will be, but this guitar solo was living proof that you don't have to play fast to be able to play a great guitar solo. Number 5, Jimmy Page on Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. The guitar solo on this song was really the centerpiece of the entire song itself on what is widely recognized as one of the greatest rock songs ever. Beginning guitar players all over the world are still being taught this solo as one of the very first guitar solos all over the world still to this day. It was certainly one of the first guitar solos that I learned. Number 6, Ted Nugent, Cat Scratch Fever. There's actually 2 guitar solos here in this one. There's one in the middle of the song and the one at the very end. Both of these solos are great solos from a great guitar player. Both of these guitar solos are mostly A minor pentatonic all the way, and both of them are such great solos that when Pantera covered that song, Dimebag Darrell changed very little of either one of them. He pretty much played them just about exactly the way they were written. Number 8, Slash on Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine. At the mere mention of this song, you can already hear the beginning notes of the guitar solo and Slash's wah pedal going to work and playing back in your head note for note. And that's not because we've all heard this song a gazillion times at this point. It's because it's a fantastic guitar solo and one that completes the build of the climax of the song and just brings everything all together at the end. Brilliantly written, brilliantly played guitar solo. Number 9, James Hetfield on Metallica's Nothing Else Matters. James Hetfield's a pretty busy guy in Metallica, and he doesn't get to play guitar solos very often. But this is one that he is probably the one that he is best known for. Again, another solo that is not a shred fest by any means, but fits one of their slower, more melodic songs just absolutely perfectly. If you're a beginning guitar player and you want to learn a few solos, this is one that you should check out because it's actually pretty easy. Number 10, Ace Frehley on Kiss's She. There is a ton of great guitar solos from the early Kiss records that you could choose from. This is the one that happens to be my favorite. The version on the studio album on Dressed to Kill was okay, but the best version of this guitar solo was on Alive. Alive 1, that is, the very first one. Kiss have since admitted that they actually went back into the studio and re-recorded a lot of the live parts in the studio to enhance the sound, which is kind of a drag to know that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still a great live album. And that particular performance, that particular solo from Ace Frehley, if that didn't get your adrenaline pumping, especially on a slower tempo song, I don't know what will, because it certainly does it for me. Number 11, Randy Rhoads on Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. This is another one of those guitar solos like Sweet Child of Mine. We've all heard it so many times. You can hear that opening tapping riff, the mere mention of the song itself. And this solo, like so many others that Randy Rhoads played on, is proof why he was one of the greatest guitar players that have ever lived. Number 12, Snake Sabo and Scotti Hill on Skid Row's Midnight Tornado. This is probably the most obscure solo on this list. This was, Midnight Tornado was actually 2 songs that butted up together on the same track. It was really one song with like an instrumental thing that butted up at the end of it. On the very last track of Skid Row's title record, self-titled album. It was not a radio hit or anything. If you're not a diehard Skid Row fan, you might not be familiar with it at all. But if you are a Skid Row fan, you probably are familiar with it. You know that entire song is great, and it's just and the solo between both of those guys, because they both played on it, was absolutely epic. Number 13, Jimmy Page on Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven, from start to finish, may be the greatest rock song ever written, ever. The way that it starts out really, really calm and really slow, and then just gradually builds over about 7 minutes or so, including the solo there towards the end. All of it is just an epic song that I don't know will ever be topped. And the guitar solo, not only the guitar solo itself, but where it is placed in the song and the way that it adds to the build-up of the the final climax of the song at the end is marvelous. Absolutely brilliant. Number 14, John Sykes on Whitesnake's Still of the Night. The guitar tone on this entire track is absolutely phenomenal, and the guitar solo is no different. There is one part at the very beginning of the solo that he's actually playing this with a violin bow. Even if you sit down and just learn the individual notes, as I've had difficulty learning to play it well because it's been kind of a finger tangler to me. But regardless, it's another one of those guitar solos that you really, really just connect with on an emotional level, and it's a great solo. Honorable mentions: Dimebag Darrell on Pantera's Cemetary Gates. George Lynch on Dokken's Dream Warriors. Dan Huff on Giants' I'm a Believer. John Petrucci on Dream Theater's Another Day. And number 15, Eddie Van Halen on Van Halen's Ain't Talkin' About Love. You cannot put together a list of great guitar solos and not include the great, now late great Eddie Van Halen, who I already terribly miss. I don't know that Eddie Van Halen ever played a bad guitar solo in his life, but, and there were certainly plenty of great ones to choose from. I chose this particular song because it was one of the earlier solos that I myself learned to play, number one, and number two, it's also on my all-time favorite Van Halen song. So, but realistically, you can pick any Van Halen song out there with a guitar solo, which is pretty much any Van Halen song, and find a great, great guitar solo. Eddie Van Halen was a very, very unique guitar player. So, there you have it. There is my list of my top 15 favorite guitar solos of all time, plus a few extras. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please consider commenting down below and let me know what your favorite guitar solos are. I found this list to be very, very, very difficult to put together, and, as a matter of fact, this started out as a list of 5, and suddenly more and more just kept coming to my mind that I just couldn't leave out. That happens when you do these kinds of videos. If you haven't considered subscribing to the channel, please consider doing so. It really, really does help out a lot, and it really, really does mean a whole lot to me when you do so. Thank you so much for watching. Adios.